If you're struggling with the sine rule, this video is going to be a really quick overview on how to do the sine rule and different examples that you can use it in. The sine rule can be complicated, but once you understand how to do it, it's one of the easiest rules of trig. So without further ado, let's get into it. So let's start by taking a look at this triangle. Let's label the sides A, B, and C. Now we're going to label the angles on the inside of the triangle with the same letter as the side that they belong to. So opposite side A, we're going to put an angle capital A, and we'll use a capital letter to make it distinct from the sides itself. So for B, we'll also have capital B, and C will also have capital C. And then it turns out if you take a side, let's take A for example, and divide it by the sine of the angle opposite that side, so sine capital A, you get the same value as if you were to do this to any other side. So we get this rule, A over sine A equals B over sine B, which equals C over sine C. And because this is a fractional relationship, we can actually flip it and it will be the same thing. And there you have it. That's the sine rule. So it's important to note that this works for any triangle. So we'll blitz through a few questions now so you can see how it's applied in practice. So for this question here, you might be a little confused because we only have 4 different pronumerals and we have 6 in our equation. And see, the thing is, we only use the first 2 parts of our equation. As you can see here, I've outlined, we only use A over sine A equals B over sine B. So what we're going to do first is we're going to label the side that we want to find as small a. So since x is our unknown, we're going to label x as small a. And then we're going to label the angle belonging to this side as big A, which is 35 degrees. We label it as big A. Then we're going to label 6.8 centimeters as small b, and the side corresponding to it as big B. And then we can go ahead and use our equation and sub all these pronumerals in. So we get x over sine 35 equals 6.8 sine 64. And then we can sort of bring this sine 35 up to the other side. So it becomes 6.8 times sine 35 over sine 64 equals 4.3 centimeters to 1 decimal place. It's almost if you had y divided by 2 is equal to 6, and then you sort of times the 6 by 2 to get 12. It's the same sort of algebraic manipulation happening here. So here we have an unknown angle x. So the initial process is exactly the same if you were to have an angle unknown instead of a side. But there's one extra step we need to take into account. So what we're going to do is we're going to label this unknown angle x as capital A, and then we're going to write out our equation. But this time we're going to use the flipped version because we're trying to find an unknown angle. So we have sine x degrees over 6.7 equals sine 97 degrees over 8.1. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring over the 6.7 to the other side and make it sine x degrees equals 6.7 times sine 97 over 8.1. We're going to do something called sine inverse. And this is what you do when you have an unknown angle. So if sine of x equals a certain number, we'll just sine inverse the other side to get our x back. And that looks something like this. So here we have x equals sine inverse of whatever we had on the other side, and we've gotten 55.2 degrees. Here we have another unknown angle x, and what we're going to do is we're going to do the exact same thing we did in the last question. So the first step is labeling our unknown angle as capital A, labeling our side as small a, and then the same capital B and small b. So then we have sine x over 4.7 equals sine 78 over 9.2. And then we do the same thing, so we inverse sine the other side, and I've just skipped a step here to make it easier, but as you can see, we get an angle of 30 degrees. So hopefully that's straightforward on how to deal with an unknown side and an unknown angle using the sine rule. And so there you have it. The sine rule is really easy, and if you follow the steps I showed you in this video, you should be able to do every question from now on. If you have any questions, chuck them in the comments and I'll be sure to get back to them.